Thank you, listeners. Welcome to today's program, Elko Live here on KELK. We're featuring special guests in our community who are going to help us and encourage us in our communications with each other, our leadership in the community. We have the Toastmasters, Sunrise Toastmasters of Elko in studio today with some great guests to help educate us about this important organization in the community and how it can actually improve your outlook, your career, certainly your professional and your personal life. I'd like to welcome Gil Sargent. Gil has been helping to put this interview session together today, Gil, and it's great to get to see you here in studio.
Good afternoon. Nice to be here.
Great to be here with you. And Kevin Toe is also one of the Toastmasters in our community. Kevin, we're going to talk more about your work with Nevada Gold Mines, but thank you for coming to the program.
Thank you, Laurie.
Pleasure to see you. And also Wendy Bernhard, who is here. And Wendy has been a member of Sunrise Toastmasters since you moved to Elko in 2012. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. And I'm really happy to be with you today here, Laurie and Gil and Kevin.
Thank you so much. This will be a wonderful program as we are all celebrating. Is that right, Gil? 100 years of Toastmasters?
That's correct. A fellow named Ralph C. Smedley, working at the YMCA in Bloomington, Illinois, started a program for men in the community that needed to learn how to speak, conduct meetings, plan programs, and work on committees. And he wanted to help them. So he did that over the course of several years. That was in 1905. In 1924, he started his first official club after he moved to California, Santa Ana, California. And there he started the official Toastmasters Club, and it kind of took off. There were several clubs around the area. In 1930, they became international with Canada. And currently there's 15,000 clubs all over the 149 countries, 280,000 members. So it's quite a far-reaching outfit.
Outstanding. And we'll talk with each of the members who are here today, but something I'd like you to each consider that we discuss is maybe thinking about why Toastmasters is so successful and why it has grown to this international prominence. That's probably something that might be personal to each one of you. So, Gil, we wanted to obviously get to know you more as well because you, a lot of people know you maybe from your work previously in the mining industry. You spent quite a career in mining, and then you started a whole new chapter in your life, if you wouldn't mind sharing that with us.
Yeah, well, I was 39 years in mining. 25 years of that was at Newmont Mining, and I started as an electrician at the old Mill 1, which is no longer in existence. And just went to underground when Newmont went to underground, then went to process. And so I was there 25 years. Then I took a little bit of an easier job and went into sales, and I sold industrial equipment to all the places that I'd worked at, and then all the ones on the west side of the state. And then retired three years ago, and just kind of had an itch. I started coaching little kids when I was 19 years old, so I started a coaching business where I help people. I'm a personal accountability coach, and I'm a business optimization coach. I help people get from here to there. So,
well, you are a very positive person, Gil. I mean, I hope that's other people have described you that way, and I could certainly see how being part of Sunrise Toastmasters would help you to, enhance that personability and certainly to encourage others to adopt this kind of demeanor.
Yes, it helps open a window to your inside, and you learn things that you didn't know before. I just learned recently in an evaluation that I have a tendency to drop my G's, so going instead of going, things like that. So, yeah.
We could all use the improvement. I always get self-conscious whenever I have Toastmasters on the radio. So anyone listening thinking, wow, she's being very careful today, but it's true. Before you go to the dentist, you really brush and floss, right, before you go to that checkup. So I'm excited to get to introduce Kevin Toe. Kevin, you are currently working as an underground engineer. If you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, yes, thank you. So, like you just mentioned, I work as an underground engineer with Nevada Gold Mines. How I got into mining, that was it it came out of left field, if I can say it that way. I didn't know anything about mining. My family was not around mining. And again, I'm from Burkina Faso in West Africa. So that's where I grew up. It was time, after high school, I got an opportunity through a family friend to move to the US, and I said, yes, I'm taking that opportunity. So I packed my stuff and I embarked on this new journey. And my first time in the US was in Virginia, Alexandria, Virginia, and I happened to land right after a snowstorm. So that was a great welcoming weather for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, through my time there, I went in there. At that time, I only spoke French. So I took my first 6 months in the US just learning English and learning the American culture. And with that time, I started taking college courses, and I'm like, okay, well, I need to figure out what I want to do for my career. So I happened to grab a book and I saw mining into it. I'm like, that sounds interesting. So from Virginia, I went to Penn State University, took my first mining course, and my professor was really good at telling us all about mining, and I loved it. And I'm like, okay, this is the one career I'm gonna have. So I started mining out the mining coal in some low coal mine. The coal mine was about we were mining a 6 feet tall seam, which meant we had to do all the work on our knees.
Oh my goodness,
So-
wow. And then to come to this environment and technology that's now used, especially at Nevada gold mines, right, Kevin?
Exactly. And after that, I realized I think I want to do something different, and I got an opportunity to move out with Nevada Gold Mine. First started in Winnemucca with Turquoise Ridge, and then found my way into Elko, where now I work as a design engineer. So,
Well, we are so lucky to have you in the community and to get to meet you. And what an exciting background,
Yeah.
certainly. And you have a family, right? Because it says here that your wife often decides when it's time to go camping, right?
exactly. So I happened to meet my wife out in Winnemucca when I was still in school. So we ended up getting married, and she loved the outdoor, and I don't mind going outside. So I'm like, this is perfect. We'll go ahead and I'll learn how to start camping. I'll learn how to get away from my computer, from my phone, and it's been really fun. I'm glad she pushed me out. So.
Yep, and you're surrounded by all that beautiful geology that you get to, in fact, help to explore and design for gold mining.
Exactly, and yeah, the first few times I went outside, it was just because I was curious about all the old mines around us. And after doing that, I'm like, I like being outdoor. It's pretty fun.
Well, it is fun to get to talk to you about this, and we can certainly spend some more time, and we will. We're going to meet our third guest today, who is Wendy Bernhard. And Wendy, you are no stranger to our community. You have devoted yourself to many things, I think, in Elko. You're very familiar, Wendy, but something that I find fascinating is that you came to Elko after retiring from a career as a missionary teacher in Africa.
Yes, that's correct. I taught in the Democratic Republic of Congo, formerly Zaire, formerly the Belgian Congo, formerly wherever King Leopold's ghost was, the Congo Free State, whenever it was that you studied geography. I retired in 2012 after 30 years in the Congo. Came here because my sister lived here. At that time, she was working for NDOT, but now Jo Sherwood, she's the principal of Spring Creek Christian Academy. She and her husband, Tom, live in Spring Creek. So I thought I was coming to Elko to be around them for a little while, and then I was going to go to a retirement community in Southern California. And that was more than 10 years ago now. Somehow Elko has grown on me. I didn't think I would like it because of the snow, because I call myself a cross between a desert rat and a tropical houseplant. I grew up in Las Vegas and then spent 30 years in the tropics. So I don't do these cold winters very well. But I've gotten to know so many people, and I am involved in a number of organizations in Elko, and I've just gotten to like the people so much that I'm still here.
Well, and our community is better for it, Wendy. That's fantastic. We're so happy to hear that we became your retirement community. Yes. So we'll go back and talk to each one of you. And I thought, Wendy, we'll start with you before we make our way back down. But to talk about how becoming part of Sunrise Toastmasters and being involved with this organization, how does it improve your life? What has it done for you?
First of all, it opened up my life in Elko to a bunch of wonderful people. I was talking with Darcy Schumacher. Some of you know her. She used to live here. She's since moved away. I overheard her after another meeting one time saying, trying to arrange her schedule. Well, let's see, I've got Toastmasters on Friday morning, blah, 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 whenever she could get with this other person. And my ears perked up. Toastmasters, what's that? So when she was done talking with the other person, I started talking with her, and she said, well, why don't you come and see? So I did. And less than a month after I arrived in Elko, I joined Toastmasters. I had done a lot of public speaking. Every time I would come back to the States, I had to go to churches literally all over the country to talk about the work I was doing there. And the work I did in the Congo involved public speaking as well. I was a teacher of adults, and I was ordained as a Baptist minister there, so I did quite a lot of preaching when I was invited to do so. I did a radio program as well, Youth, a Jewel and a Treasure. So I was familiar with public speaking, but Toastmasters has really helped me to hone my skills. And I hope I'm a better speaker now than I was when I first joined.
Well, you are a lovely speaker, and I'm so impressed. I know she does know how to use the microphone, so that is no surprise that you are a radio host, Wendy, and how, again, fortunate that you've landed here in Elko. And so it sounds as though, Wendy, this organization provides you with a lot of unique friendships and opportunities, and so we'll talk more about that as our program continues. So, Kevin, how about you? Did you feel that Toastmasters was the best way to improve public speaking, since English was not your first language?
Yes, so I recently joined on Toastmasters, and that was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So I heard about it when I said 3 years ago, but I was on and off, and then recently through a colleague I heard about Toastmasters, and we happened to have George, our current president, do a presentation at the Women in Mining of Nevada meeting. So after that, I decided this was the time for me to go ahead and register and start learning. And the reason I decided, like you mentioned, to join is to learn how to become a better communicator. And for me, being a better communicator is learn how to better pronunciate my words and be more familiarize myself with the fear that comes with public speaking. And so far, it's been a great time. I get to wake up early in the morning and go and meet Gil and Wendy. So so far I can see some improvement now. I'm not fearful when it comes to standing up and speaking in front of them. So.
Thank you, Kevin. I can't imagine what it would be like if we reversed roles and I were to move to West Africa and be expected to learn to speak French to conduct all of my business. So, yeah, very courageous and you, again, very positive and encouraging. Wendy wanted to add something.
Yes, I just wanted to mention that Kevin mentioned George, the current president of Toastmasters, Sunrise Toastmasters. That's George Kleeb, who is a professor at Great Basin College. He's our president this year and really sparks us on.
He is a great personality as well and very encouraging. And I think, Gil, in coming back to you as an accountability coach in your new avocation and what you enjoy doing, a personal accountability coach, business optimization coach. Again, you work with people who want to achieve their goals. So let's talk about how Sunrise Toastmasters is helping you do that.
Well, I was in Toastmasters in 2017, and that opened my eyes to what I was doing wrong and what I needed to do better. And I was reached out to by a couple of members in Toastmasters, Helen Hankins and Mike Mauser, who I knew from before. And they wanted me to do a video about the benefits of Toastmaster. And I said, well, I'm doing some coaching now. What if I just helped you? And what they want to do is they wanted to reach out to the community and let the community know about the benefits, because sometimes you can just get in your own bubble and the same people are. And I said, why don't I help coach a project on that? And they said that'd be great. And so I've been helping for the last 2 months with a project of getting the word out about Toastmasters. We've doing this today. We've got a lunch and learn at the Chamber on Tuesday, and we're going to teach people there how to attract a customer in 90 seconds using an elevator pitch. And so it's just been, I get to learn about how I speak, I get to improve about how I speak, and I get to do what I love. So it's been a win-win for me.
Gil Sargent is one of the many members of our local Sunrise Toastmasters, and we're talking about how this organization, which is international, has been helping people develop their listening skills, because that's a very important part of communicating, something we could all do better, and especially in today's social media environment, to acquire their speaking and leadership skills at an affordable price, which I imagine that there's not much that you have to pay to be part of the organization, Gil?
No, it works out to about $10 a month, so it's $60 every 6 months, and there's a $3 club fee that helps, bring us together for social events and stuff. But it's reasonable, and the thing I like about it is leaders can come there and learn how to speak to crews. When we all have a trade and we spend years learning that trade, but then we're promoted. Somebody decides we've got what it takes to supervise a crew. And so we just go do it. But we do it based on what we've seen. And nobody spends the time to teach us how to speak, how to do other things. And one of the great things about Toastmasters is you not only learn how to speak, but there's a portion in there where it's called the evaluation portion. And you learn how to receive constructive criticism, which is a skill, and you learn how to give positive constructive criticism. And so for $10 a month, you know what it costs to send a leader out. Could be hundreds or thousands of dollars, but for $10 a month, somebody can come and learn how to speak to a crew and listen to their crew and things like that. So,
and it seems as though this is a very positive environment. Kevin, would you agree with that? Coming again, new to the country, new to the community, and new to the language.
Oh yes, that I 100% agree with that, because when you're in there early in the morning and just trying to learn a new skill, you have all these people over there just ready to encourage you. And you did mention being a good listener. So my focus right now is to learn how to be an active listener, so I can, when it's my turn, because everyone in Toastmaster go through specific ranks. So when it's my turn, I would like to be confident providing a good constructed feedback, because I've noticed that this is one of the best way they use to encourage all the participants. So it's a very positive environment for everyone.
Kevin, Toe is among the members of our Sunrise Toastmasters in our community, and they are inviting others to join them. And Wendy, and back to you, I'm wondering, since you have had this long career and you work directly with people and young adults and in another country, what about Toastmasters in guiding us away from this social media addiction that a lot of people seem to suffer? It seems to be damaging our communication. Do you think that Sunrise Toastmasters could help us regain better communication?
Yes, I think so, definitely. There's even a possibility for youth programs within Toastmasters. I think it would be great if we could get some high school, college students that would want to get together once a week and communicate face to face. That's an art that's being lost. You see people around a table even in a home, if they sit around the table, and they're all on their phones. Probably not even talking to each other on their phones. But yes, Toastmasters could definitely help the personal communication skills, and by getting people doing something else, at least for a while.
And then, Gil, the idea, too, of maybe civil discourse, returning to that kind of conversation in our community, because, we've just gone through we'll be going through an election cycle again, and we see relationships deteriorate in our community because people are simply not talking to one another.
Yes, and to facilitate that, we have a member, Mike Mauser and Helen Hankins, who approached the club and said, is there a way we could do a civil discourse meeting once every 3 months? And so we've got one coming up next week if anybody wants to visit. We meet at 6:45 at the Terrace Senior Center on Fridays.
A.M.
Yeah, in the morning.
In the morning,
In
yep.
the morning. And that's next week's meeting. We're going to be given topics, and some will be talking to topics that they know, but some will be given topics that might be opposite of their viewpoint, and they're going to be doing a table topics version of that for 2 minutes, speaking to the positive side of that. So all of those things help you speak, and it also helps, to your point, how do you disagree without being disagreeable? And so we strive for that.
So it sounds as though, are you given topics in advance? You can do a little research skill, or is this extemporaneous from your own experience?
We haven't seen them yet. We may see them midweek. We won't see the table topics ones. If they do the table topics ones, those table topics each week, you're just asked to speak to something. And both Wendy and Kevin spoke at table topics this morning, and so I'll let them tell you how that went.
I would love to hear that, Kevin, because it's fascinating to sit across from three people who I assume are diverse, but we all have in common, obviously, this interest in Sunrise Toastmasters. Tell us about your tabletop today, Kevin.
Yeah, so the table topics, that's a way for us to learn how to quickly react when you're asked a question that you didn't have time to prepare. How do you organize your thought to make sure that your speech is properly constructed? You have a clear introduction, a clear body, and a clear conclusion. So this morning, my topic was about if I had visited Ireland, and if not, which country was of the countries I visited, which one was my best one? So that was my topic this morning.
Oh, and have you visited Ireland?
I have not. But the favorite country I visited so far is New Zealand, and I did explain why, and I do hope to visit Ireland one day so I can learn how they celebrate St. Patrick's Day over there.
And Wendy's wearing the perfect shirt for that too. Who needs luck? She has charm. So yes. So how did is it tabletop or table topic?
Yeah, we have a section called Table Topics. Actually, I don't even remember what I said this morning, but maybe I'll just give you a brief outline of what our meetings look like.
I would love that.
We start on time at 6:45. We end on time at 7:45. Someone is assigned to be the Toastmaster of the day, which is the MC, and organizes the meeting, makes sure the roles are filled, and then presides at the meeting. That's part of a leadership development skill. There's a person who has the word of the day. This morning's word of the day was...
Embark.
Embark. I heard Kevin use it when he started speaking today.
Very nice. You got extra points for that, Kevin.
Yes.
That's right.
So that person keeps track of who uses the word of the day and uses it correctly. Sometimes it's a really obscure something or other that nobody can use, and sometimes it's a fairly ordinary word, but that sparks our interest in something. And that person is also responsible for watching out for the grammar that people use, and the ums and the ahs and the goings instead of goings and things like that any of us might say during the meeting. Then we have usually 2 prepared speeches, which are normally 5 to 7 minutes long. And in that case, the person might be working toward a pathway, which is the learning program in Toastmasters. You can choose your topic, whatever you want to speak on, either something personal or research or humorous. It can be anything from 5 to 7 minutes. 2 of those, and then those 2 are evaluated. There's a person assigned to evaluate each speech, giving positive feedback, and then a bit of constructive criticism, and then something more positive, kind of a sandwich kind of evaluation. Then we have the table topics, which are 1 to 2 minutes long. Someone is assigned to think of a topic for that day. Today, surprise, it was St. Patrick's Day. I wanted to mention the Ides of March somewhere because today is also the Ides of March. But then that person comes up with questions that can be answered in 1 to 2 minutes and randomly calls on people, depending on how much time we have, to do that. Then there's a person who keeps track of the time, and there's a person who keeps track of the grammar, the evaluations, and then usually we vote for the better speech that day or the best table topic speaker. And we have that also to give a little bit more encouragement. It's important to encourage people. Did I forget anything?
No, but I can tell you never know what you're going to see there. I can tell you that Wendy left us this morning with an Irish blessing. May your joy be as deep as the oceans, your troubles as light as its foam, and may you find sweet peace of mind wherever you may roam. So.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's a wonderful sentiment. Kevin, can you think of anything to add to that? Is there any sort of philosophy that maybe you grew up with as a boy in West Africa speaking French?
Ooh.
You can even share it in French if you want.
Yes. I'm sure Wendy will be able to understand what I mean. But again, going back to the topic of impromptu speaking, I think this is hard for a lot of people, including myself. That's the one thing I want to be able to feel comfortable doing. And even when it comes to our career, so when you're at work, you end up presenting to the people you know the people you'll be presenting to, and most of the time you know your topic really well, so you don't get that fear of not being able to express yourself properly. But when it comes to Toastmaster, you never know what kind of topic you'll be given, so just being able to get up after you hear your topic and time yourself to make sure that you are within the 2 to 3 minutes that they ask you, it's a really great skill.
Well, in fact, the Toastmasters in this room and anybody else who's listening who happens to be a Toastmaster, or if you're thinking of becoming part of the Sunrise Toastmasters group in Elko, you might consider that you would be joining a list of people like Harrison Ford and Julia Roberts. Entrepreneur Richard Branson apparently benefited from the Toastmasters. Jim Gaffigan had stage fright and an actual fear of public speaking, and now he's one of the highest earning stand-up comedians. Samuel L. Jackson, when he was a child, he suffered a debilitating stutter and a speaking phobia. So these are just some of the celebrities, apparently, who have found support within groups like Sunrise Toastmasters. And Gil's nodding, not surprised at all.
Not surprised at all. It helps people transition. We all have to speak in some form or fashion. We hide from it at times. You know, the three biggest fears are spiders and snakes, heights, and speaking in front of other people. And Toastmasters help you transition from being fearful when speaking in front of a group to being more comfortable at it. And it's a skill that everybody can use if they go out and get it. But you have to take that first step, and you got to come visit. So
let's finish up by talking about where do you come visit? How do you get involved? Who would like to take over that and talk about the particulars?
Okay, we meet on Friday mornings. We start the meeting at 6:45, so I would suggest you arrive between 6:30 and 6:45 at the Senior Center, the Terraces Senior Center on Ruby View Drive.
Mm-hmm.
Correct, 1795 Ruby View Drive.
Okay, so
yes.
Between 6:30 and 6:45, then you can be greeted and you can find a place to sit. And we are a Zoom meeting as well. We are a hybrid meeting. We have someone who works in Senator Cortez Mastro's office is a member of our Sunrise Toastmasters from Washington, D.C. We have a member in Texas and one in New Mexico and Battle Mountain. And then sometimes if it's snowing here in town, we can all get on Zoom and get to the meeting. So it's a hybrid meeting, and it's enriched by people from several parts of the country.
That's very encouraging to hear, Wendy, and Gil's nodding, obviously, because incorporating new technology into an organization that's 100 years old, that's impressive.
it is.
Yes.
And we at times struggle with online meetings too. We are learning, so it is another skill that everybody is trying to grapple with, and the tech masters now are reaching out and putting together a training program so that they can drag some of the rest of us in kicking and screaming and make us help out when they're not there. So
Yes.
Well, I know that just from my personal experience, even having done this a long time, it is nerve-wracking. I've been behind a microphone, but getting out in public and speaking and even meeting new people, speaking to new people, especially after the pandemic, that was difficult. So we
Yes.
could all use a little more help.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was important to tell people that I'm nervous, because sometimes, whether or not they know what you do for a profession, if you can just say, I'm really nervous, and then that just seems to be an icebreaker. Does that seem to help you guys?
Well, yeah, that's a way to manage expectations, is what that is. So
Yeah.
if you tell them that you're scared, they won't be so mean to you.
Well, and I did want to mention to Helen Hankins, who's come on this program many times. She was a long time and is still a well-respected professional in our community. She's a member of the California Trail Interpretive Center's foundation. She helped to get that center built in her role as previously as our local district manager for Elko BLM. Not a lot of people know, but Helen is largely responsible for the success of this radio show and its longevity, Elko Live.
Oh, wow.
Yes, Helen was among the first public lands managers to come to the radio station and say, we really need this opportunity, this outlet. We need to reach the community. This was long before social media, so that we could tell our story. And we invited that opportunity. Helen was also that was accompanied by Nevada Department of Wildlife. They also saw the need to really tell their story. They've been two of the longest running participants of Elko Live. It's called Your Public Lands radio show, and it continues. It was started by Helen, and it's really a great opportunity. And I can say personally that it's brought people together over some of these public lands issues that had divided us for so long, because it was important that the agency had a voice.
She's got a way of bringing people together. She started this club in '97, so
Wow.
she's reached out in all different directions to bring people together, and bless her for it. I mean, it really has been it's a treat to be able to go, and it's a joy to be able to learn that way. So.
Oh, Gil, that's wonderful. I did not know that Helen also started the Sunrise Toastmasters, and so if you ever think to yourself, I don't think I could make a difference, one person has made a huge difference in our community. And I know Mike has supported her every step of the way.
Yes.
Yes. So what a great couple, and what a great opportunity to get to learn from people just like our guest today, Gil Sargent, Kevin Toe and Wendy Bernhard. They are all members of Sunrise Toastmasters in our community, and they're inviting you to join them, whether Zoom or in person, Friday mornings, 6:45 a.m. at the Terrace at Ruby View, 1795 Ruby View Drive. Get in touch. Do you have a web or Facebook?
We have a Facebook page that is the best to go find the Zoom link. We also have a web page for Toastmasters if you type in Sunrise Toastmasters. So either one of those, and then, just swing down sometime. That's the best way. Just dip your toe in the water.
And you'll meet, about how many people would you say?
There's between 8 and 12 in person, and there's usually 6 to 9 or 10 online, depending on the day and the weather and things like that.
So it's not an overwhelming group.
No.
Which is important to a lot of people, just getting, as you said, their toe in the water.
Well, plus we have to hit that sweet spot with membership, because if you have too few members, then you have the same people given the same perspective. But if you have too many members, then you don't get enough opportunities to speak. So you got to hit that sweet spot at about 20 to 24 members, somewhere in there.
So you could use a few more.
We can use a few more. If we get more than that, they're talking about starting satellite clubs and doing some online things and things like that. So, yeah.
Gil, thank you so much. Thanks for reaching out. Thanks for making this opportunity possible by organizing it. That's obviously a skill that you have.
Thank you so much for having us today. It's been a real delight.
And Kevin, what a pleasure to meet you.
Yep, nice meeting you, and thank you for having us, and I'm looking forward to having new members.
And Wendy, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Laurie.
Thank you, listeners, for joining us for another edition of Elko Live here on KELK.